Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I welcome you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita session. Today is April 11th, 2026, and we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, sorry, Canto 10, Chapter 8. Lord Krishna shows the universal form to his mother, and we completed the name-giving ceremony, pastime, and now we are reading about the crawling pastimes of Krishna Balaram. Okay, so we will just read those pastimes and continue. So yesterday, what we read was that, or in the past couple of days, in this pastime of crawling, pastime, we saw that Krishna and Balaram, they are in a very short time, they started crawling, and crawling with the help of their knees and hands, like all children do, babies do. So they would crawl in the courtyard of Nanda Mahārāja's house, and they would enjoy this crawling. Vijahratuhu means it was great fun. They would just go crawling around and they would enjoy it so much. And then we saw that how would they crawl? They would crawl by dragging their feet, and they would move like a reptile, like that. Crooked, not just straight, like that. Sarisripantau. And they had bells, like ankle bells, And then they had a belt around their waist which had bells. So when they would crawl, these bells would tinkle. And the sound of the tinkling of the bells was very sweet. We also heard that this bell, the tinkling of this bell, resembled the talks or the voice of gopis and gopas. It would sound like that. It was very, very pleasing to hear that sound. And like this, with bells, on their feet and around their waist, Krishna Balaram would crawl. Where would they crawl? Vraja kardameshu. Kardameshu means kichad in Hindi, right? So the dirt which is wet. So the dust of Raja which is moistened with cow urine and cow milk. So they would be crawling in that, like that. And while they're crawling, they would also hear the sound of these bells. Tannada. So the sound of these bells, when they would hear, Hrishta Manasau, they would become so jubilant, they would become so amused, so happy. They were not aware that the sound was coming from their bells. All they knew was that while they were crawling, this sound would appear, the tinkling sound would appear. And it was so wonderful. They really enjoyed that sound. They became so happy. Hrishta Manasa means their hearts became so jubilant by hearing that sound. They would feel as if they gained some, the most valuable thing, as if they got something most valuable. That's how they felt by hearing that sound. So they kept crawling in order to hear that sound, because whenever they would crawl, they heard that. So they would just keep crawling all over in the courtyard. And not only that, anusritya lokam mugdha. So they would see some people walking out on the street and they would think, oh, this is my mother, Yaśodā and Rohiṇī. And so they would just keep following them, being very happy. Babies do that. I think you also have that experience. Babies are very attached to their mothers. And when they start crawling, they just keep following wherever the mother goes. If she's in the kitchen, like to cut your vegetables from the counter to the refrigerator, when you would move here and there, the baby will be just crawling behind the mother wherever the mother goes. Or if she goes out into the, the balcony and then she comes back, the baby will just crawl. So Krishna Balaram, we heard in one of these verses, we heard that, they really relish this pastime of, being the child of Yaśodā and Rohiṇī. And similarly, Yaśodā and Rohiṇī simply saw Krishna Balaram as their sons. They were completely absorbed in that pastime. So just like small babies, they would be going after their mothers. They would see a couple of ladies walking outside and thinking that it is their mothers. They would just go behind them. Mugdha means being completely, very happy, being, I'm falling short of words. Mugdha ho jana. How would you say that in English? Right? You're like completely amazed, I guess. Right? Awe, yes, awed. So they're going after, thinking that it's their mother. So they're just going, And then the ladies would turn around and see, oh, look at the boys, they're so beautiful. And see Krishna and Balaram, they're following us. And as soon as they would see this is not our mothers, they would just turn around and they would appear, right? That they are really afraid. They would look like they got really sick. Prabhita vat. Prabhita means really fearful. Vat means as if they were really fearful. They would just turn around and very quickly they would start crawling back to their mothers like this. Then we also read the next verse 23. Tan matarau nijasutau gṛhyāṇi. Tan matarau. So their mothers, Krishna and Balaram's mothers, Yaśodā and Rohiṇī. Nijasutau gṛhyāṇi. They saw Krishna and Balaram, or each one of them saw, like Yaśodā would see Krishna only as her son, nothing else, right? And she would have so much affection, gṛhyāṇi, for Krishna, that her breasts would be full with milk and they would be dripping, milk would be dripping from her breasts out of affection for Krishna as her son. Similarly, Rohiṇī would have so much affection for Lord Balaram as her son that out of affection, her breast would be filled with milk and milk would be dripping from her breasts. Such mothers of Krishna and Balaram who had so much affection for their sons, when they would see Krishna and Balaram crawling in the courtyard, covered with dirt all over the body, this kichad, right? Wet dirt, moist dirt covered on their body. Panka, you know pankaja? Pankaja means, what is pankaja?
Lotus.
Yes.
Lotus.
Yes, Mataji. Pankaja means lotus. So panka means panka. Again, panka means kichad because lotus comes in muddy waters. So ja means that taking birth. That which is born in muddy soils, muddy water. That is lotus. So pankaja is the name of a lotus. So panka means what? Panka means that moist, wet, muddy, or watery mud or muddy water. Panka. You know what I'm saying. So panka, this panka angarag. Angarag means, you know, like you apply so many cosmetics on your body. So now Krishna Balaram were applied with what? Panka, with this dirt all over their body because of crawling. Now they are covered with that. And their mothers, who had so much affection for them, that their breasts were always filled with milk and that milk would be dripping out of affection. When they saw Krishna and Balaram crawling like this in the dirt and all covered, their bodies all covered with dirt, with both their arms, they would pick up their babies. Upagrihya-dorbhyam. Dorbhyam means with both hands. Upagrihya, they would pick up the boys, and then, because their breasts were already filled with milk, dattvastanam, they would offer their breast milk to their boys. And while the boys are drinking, prapibatoho, while they are drinking, sma mukham nirikshya, very keenly, they would examine the face of the child as the child is drinking milk. Mukham niriksha. And what would they see? Mugdha smita. Because the boys, Krishna and Balaram, they're drinking milk. Because of drinking milk, they're very happy. So there is while drinking milk, they smile a little bit as they're drinking. So mugdha smita. They're smiling out of happiness, out of joy that they're drinking milk, so they're happy. So then, like in ecstasy, right, they're drinking milk and then they smile a little bit. So when they smile, the mothers who are observing the face, they see inside the mouth. What do they see? Alpa-dashanam. Small babies, right? So just now the teeth are coming in. So they have 2 teeth each. So Krishna and Balaram, just now the teeth are coming. So they see, oh, they have teeth, right? The teeth are coming in. And they're very, very small, just coming in. So alpa means less. So you can either say few teeth, because there's only 2 teeth, or you can say small, small teeth. 2 teeth, but still very small. So when they would see the teeth coming in, yayatuhu, they would enjoy pramodam, great joy, seeing that, oh, their teeth are coming in, right? So seeing that, Mother Yaśodā and Mother Rohiṇī would experience great joy. So that's what we read yesterday. Let me see if I missed any points. One more thing is why mukham is said in singular, because there's 2 babies, Krishna and Balaram, and why the verse is saying that mukham, that datva stanam prapibatoho sma mukham nirikshya. So the mothers offered their breasts to Krishna and they're looking at the face. Face is said singular, right? Both mothers offered their breasts to the babies and they're observing at the face. Face is said in singular. Why? Because each mother is focused only on the face of her child, right? To whom she is, who she is nursing. So she's just looking at one face, just observing that face. So therefore, face is said, mukham is said in singular, like that. So we can read the next verse today. Let me share the screen with you. Yes. Yarhy aṅganā-darśanīya-kumāra-līlāv antar-vraje abalāḥ pragṛhīta-pucchaiḥ vatsair tata ubhāv anukṛṣyamāṇau prekṣantya ujjhita-gṛhā jahṛṣur hasantyaḥ yarhy aṅganā-darśanīya-kumāra-līlāv antar-vraje abalāḥ pragṛhīta-pucchaiḥ vatsair tata ubhāv anukṛṣyamāṇau prekṣantya ujjhita-gṛhā jahṛṣur hasantyaḥ. So, yarhy aṅganā-darśanīya. Aṅganā means angan, courtyard. Darśanīya. That means these pastimes, the crawling pastimes of Krishna and Balaram, where were they performed or where were they witnessed? In the courtyard of the house. Aṅganā-darśanīya. They were shown in the courtyard. What was shown in the courtyard? Kumāra-līlāv. The Leelas of the boys. Kumaras. Kumāra-līlā. Who was seeing these courtyard? Who stays in the courtyard, in the house? Antar-vraje. So this was Vraja. Within the Vraja means inside the house. Okay? Antar-vraja means within the compound, right? Of the residence. So in the courtyard, antar-vraje tad abalāḥ. Abalāḥ means who's abalāḥ? Ladies. So it is the ladies who got to witness these crawling pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Because they stay at home And Krishna Balaram also crawled within the courtyard. Still they were little, they wouldn't go far away. So the ladies were the ones who got to witness these pastimes. Not only the ladies, also vatsair, some calves. Some calves would be tied inside the courtyard. These calves were, either tied or they would just sit, actually, because these calves would be so attracted to Krishna and Balaram, they didn't want to go. They liked to just sit there in the courtyard and see Krishna and Balaram. So they wouldn't go out. Sometimes even if they were herded to go out, they wouldn't go. They didn't want to go. They would just stay there. So they would be sitting in the courtyard. So who is seeing these pastimes of Krishna and Balaram? The ladies, gopis, and some calves that would be in the courtyard. They would be seeing these crawling pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Yarhy aṅganā-darśanīya-kumāra-līlāv antar-vraje tad abalāḥ. And at that time, while crawling around, they would come and, while the calf is sitting down, they would come and hold on to the tail of the calf. pragṛhīta-pucchaiḥ. Pucchaiḥ means tails. Pragṛhīta, they will hold on. Very innocently, they would just come and they would just hold on to the tail. And the vatsair, the calf, immediately it would be like, who's there? Who's holding on to my tail? It would just get up and start walking or maybe running. Then because of the calves running, the boys, it would appear to the ladies and to the mothers, it would appear that they couldn't even figure out that they're supposed to let go of the tail. They're getting pulled because the calf is running and they're holding on to the tail. And when the calf is running, they just had to let go, but they wouldn't let go. They would be holding on to the calf and then they would be dragged in that mud. They would be dragged by the calf. Itas tata means here and there. The calf would be running here and there in the courtyard and they would be dragged behind. Anukṛṣyamāṇau. Anukṛṣyamāṇau means they would be dragged behind. Ubhāv, both of them. Both the boys, Krishna and Balaram, would be dragged behind the calves here and there in the courtyard. And who is witnessing? Prekṣantya. Prekṣantya means somebody is watching very keenly, keenly, alertly, being very alert. Somebody is watching. Ujjhita-gṛhā, giving up all other activities, household duties. Ujjhita means giving up. Gṛhā means household duties. Who is that? Abalāḥ, the ladies. So the ladies would be so amused. Very keenly they would be watching Krishna and Balaram's pastimes. Like this, so many pastimes would be happening throughout the day. One is mentioned here. They would just give up all their duties at home, sweeping the house, cutting vegetables, cooking, whatever they had to do. But when Krishna and Balaram would be in the courtyard, they would just drop everything and they would simply see Krishna and Balaram and jahṛṣur, hasantyaḥ. And they would enjoy it so much. Jahṛṣur means they would enjoy watching Krishna and Balaram's pastimes that they would be laughing. Hasantyaḥ. They couldn't stop laughing seeing Krishna's and Balaram's sweet crawling pastimes. Yarhy aṅganā-darśanīya-kumāra-līlāv antar-vraje tad-abalāḥ pragṛhīta-pucchaiḥ vatsair itas tata ubhāv anukṛṣyamāṇau prekṣantya ujjhita-gṛhā jahṛṣur hasantyaḥ. So yarhy, when aṅganā-darśanīya, that means that which is seen in the courtyard, kumāra-līlāv, the pastimes of the boys, antar-vraje, inside the house or inside the compound within the courtyard, tad abalāḥ. Now, who's seeing? The ladies, abalāḥ. And what would they see? Pragṛhīta-pucchaiḥ, pragṛhīta, holding on to the tails, vatsair, of the calves. And then as a result of when they would come and hold the tail, then the calf would start running. Itas tata. It will be running here and there, kind of becoming, oh, who's here? Like that, And then when the calf is running, they're still holding on to the tail, as if, as if they don't know what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to let go, but they're just holding on and getting dragged here and there. Right? Ubhāv, anukṛṣyamāṇau. Anukṛṣyamāṇau means being dragged. Both of them get dragged. And the whole thing is prekṣantya, being witnessed very keenly. Ujjhita-gṛhā, giving up all household activities. And jahṛṣur hasantyaḥ. That means they would enjoy it and laugh like anything. The ladies, cowherd ladies. Within the house of Nanda Mahārāja, the cowherd ladies would enjoy seeing the pastimes of the babies Rāma and Kṛṣṇa. The cowherd ladies, okay? Not just Mother Yaśodā and Rohiṇī, but all the cowherd ladies. They would enjoy seeing the pastimes of the babies Kṛṣṇa and Balāṛam. The babies would catch the ends of the calves' tails, and the calves would drag them here and there. When the ladies saw these pastimes, they certainly stopped their household activities and laughed and enjoyed the incidents. Purport. While crawling in curiosity, Kṛṣṇa and Balāṛam would sometimes catch the ends of the tails of calves. The calves, feeling that someone had caught them, would begin to flee here and there, and the babies would hold on very tightly, being afraid of how the calves were moving. The calves, seeing that the babies were holding them tightly, would also become afraid. So the boys are afraid and the calves are afraid. The mothers would say, don't hold on to the calves. You'll get hurt, and, they can, don't hold on. You'll get hurt. Like that. The mothers would be forbidding them. But these calves were actually very, very gentle calves. They would never hurt or anything. They would be very gentle. They would never hurt. But yeah, but they got afraid. The calves also got afraid. So they would be running here and there. Then the ladies would come. So now they're just simply, the calves are running, being fearful, and the boys are also holding on tightly. I mean, they're kind of afraid also, but at the same time, they're having fun. Both are happening. They show in Little Krishna, you remember? Like, they're kind of afraid also, being pulled by the calf, but at the same time, they're having fun also, going around. And it's as if from their expression, it appears like they don't know what to do, that they're supposed to let go. So the ladies would come to rescue the babies, and then they would just laugh. They would gladly laugh. This was their enjoyment. Let's see what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. As Kṛṣṇa and Balāṛam grew in size and beauty and performed their childhood pastimes. So Kumara is said, right? Kumara. So from Balya, I guess they are growing up a little bit now, right? Kumāra-līlāv. That means they are older than what they were before. So, because normally Balya means from 1 to 5, it is said. So they're still crawling. So they're still, not even 1 year. Because it is said that very soon they started crawling. However, they're older than what they were before. I guess that's why. Because Kumara-līlāv is said. So that's why that means it's just indicating that they're growing up. As Krishna and Balaram grew in size and beauty and performed their childhood pastimes, Kumāra-līlāv, they became very attractive to all the ladies. So, they became attractive to all the ladies. So here, this is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation of this aṅganā-darśanīya. Aṅganā-darśanīya means Darshaniya. What is Darshaniya? Dekhne layak, right? Darshan ke yogya jo hai, Darshaniya, right? That which is worth seeing. So aṅganā-darśanīya means very attractive to aṅganā, means the ladies, right? You say Vrajaṅganā, right? That means the ladies. So one who is very attractive to the ladies, aṅganā-darśanīya, like that. So Krishna and Balaram, they as babies in their childhood pastimes, as they were growing and they became very beautiful, that means they're always beautiful, but they're growing in size and beauty because they're growing now. So they were very attractive to all the ladies. Krishna Balaram became very attractive to all the ladies. And then abalāḥ is said, again, the women of Vraja became blissful upon seeing the boys enjoying their pastimes. What pranks did the divine brothers perform? Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would grab the tails of the calves lying on the ground. Startled, the calves would jump up and run away while dragging the boys along the ground behind them. Instead of letting go, the boys would catch their tails even more tightly out of fear and begin crying. They would even begin crying. The gopis would laugh and say to the boys, "You are weaker than these small calves, still taking milk from the udder." That means they're kind of making fun. These calves are so young, they're still drinking milk from the udder of their mothers. You are weaker than these calves. Like that. Then they would free their hands from the calves' tails. Like that. And also, because the boys were still very young boys, it was not difficult for the calves to pull them. The calves themselves were very young. And the boys were also small. So when the calves would run, it was not difficult for the calves to drag the boys. So they would just get pulled here and there. Okay. Next verse. So this is the last verse of this pastime of crawling Leela, crawling pastime. Just 5 verses. So this is earlier. So the previous verse was telling us about how the ladies of Vraja enjoyed the pastimes of baby Krishna and Balaram. So now we are seeing what is the state of the mothers, Yaśodā and Rohiṇī. What was their condition? Shringyagnidaṁ-strasijalagdvijakantake-bhyah krīḍā-parāv sva-sutau niṣeddhum gṛhyāṇi kartum-api yatra na taj-jananyau śekāta āpatur alaṁ manaso navasthām Shringyagnidaṁ-strasijaladvijakantake-bhyah krīḍā-parāv sva-sutau niṣeddhum gṛhyāṇi kartum-api yatra na taj-jananyau śekāta āpatur alaṁ manaso navasthām. So, krīḍā-parāv. Krīḍā-parāv means Krishna and Balaram were always absorbed in playing krīḍā. They would be always playing. And in that play, aticalau, they were very, very restless, chanchal. aticalau. They would be so restless. They couldn't stay in one place. They would be absorbed in their krīḍā, in their play, and they couldn't stay for one moment without doing anything. But what is it that they would do? Their mothers, taj-jananyau, that means taj-jananyau means their mothers, they had to always prevent sva-sutau niṣeddhum. They had to always stop their sons from what? So the boys would go to shringi. Shringi means animals that have horns. So they would go to oxen, bulls, cows, and other animals that have horns. So the mothers would be afraid that they can get hurt by the horns of the bulls. Can you imagine small babies going to bulls and playing with the horns of the bulls? How would that be? So the mothers would be in anxiety. And then they would want to go and play with fire, because they would see the fire, in the courtyard they have wood stoves and, fire. So they would see this fire, it would appear like something is dancing, and they would want to go and catch it. Agni. Damstri means animals that have teeth, like dogs, cats, monkeys. They would want to go and hold them and play with them. But the mothers would be afraid that what if they bite the babies? Dogs can bite, cats can bite, and monkeys also. Asi means swords. So in the house, there would be some swords or knives. They would go and they would want to go and play with them, with the knives, with swords. Jala, water. Traditionally, you don't have taps where water is flowing, running water flowing from taps. They would have these big tubs, or pots or tubs, and maybe like a small jalashaya, like a water body nearby, like a lake or something. But in the courtyard, generally you would have these big tubs or tanks filled with water. So they would go and jump into that water. So the mothers are afraid, right? When they fall in the water, then you can drown. So they had to protect the children from the water. Dvija. Dvija means birds. And Dvija also means snakes. Dvija. Ja means birth. Dvija means twice born. It's the same thing. But what do we think? Generally, twice born means we think like Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas. The second birth is through Upanayana. But why birds are called twice born? First birth is they'll take birth in eggs, and their second birth is they come out of the egg. That's why they're called twice born. And same with snakes, reptiles also. First, they take birth in eggs, and the second birth is when they come out of the eggs. That's why Dvija means birds or snakes, or reptiles, lizards, snakes. So they would want to go and play with snakes, with birds, these big birds. They can peck them, right? They can hurt. Kantaka, that means thorns, right? They would be playing so restless, going all over. They can just go into thorns. So the mothers, they are in so much anxiety trying to stop the boys from danger, because constantly they're going either to horned animals, like bulls, cows, maybe other animals that have horns, then going into fire, trying to catch fire, and catching animals with teeth like monkeys, dogs, cats, and sharp weapons like knives or swords. And then they would go and jump into water tubs, water tanks, and they would want to go and play with birds, big birds. or with snakes and protecting them from thorns when they're going all over. So, and because they were restless, they wouldn't stop for a moment. Constantly, they're going one thing to the other. So, Mother Yaśodā and Mother Rohiṇī, they're trying to stop them. Sva-sutau niṣeddhum. And as a result, gṛhyāṇi kartum api yatra na taj-jananyau. Because their attention is always on the boys, they're not able to do any household activities. Because the moment they turn around to do their work, the boys are going into some dangerous situation. So they wouldn't have even one moment of peace. They're constantly running, ensuring that the boys are not running into some dangerous situation. śekāta āpatur alaṁ manasona vastham. And what was the condition of their minds, right? Manasaha anavastham. They were not in peace for a moment. There is no peace of mind. But we shouldn't think that they are in anxiety, no doubt. They're constantly in anxiety that the children can be in danger. But at the same time, it's not that they are in distress. They're actually very happy. They're very happy, but at the same time in great anxiety for Krishna. So we will read in the purport what Srila Prabhupada says about this anxiety for Krishna, anxiety in Krishna consciousness. śekāta āpatur alaṁ, śekāta. That means they were not able, śekāta is able, they were not able to do gṛhyāṇi kartum, household activities. They couldn't do any work at home. And they obtained alaṁ manasona vastam. That means constant anxiety. They would be afraid that the boys would be hurt by these things. But actually, even the animals in Vraja, they were completely harmless. Even the bulls with horns, snakes, birds, none of them, dogs, cats, monkeys, they were all completely harmless because, of Krishna's presence, that influence is there. They were totally harmless. But still, the mothers were in anxiety. They were in anxiety. Translation and purport. When Mother Yaśodā and Rohiṇī were unable to protect the babies from calamities, threatened by horned cows, by fire, by animals with claws and teeth, such as monkeys, dogs, and cats, and by thorns, swords, and other weapons on the ground, they were always in anxiety, and their household engagements were disturbed, to say the least. At that time, they were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy known as the distress of material affection, for this was aroused within their minds. So they were in transcendental ecstasy known as the distress of material affection. Well, of course, this is not material affection for them, but generally in this material world, there is affection, right? That a mother undergoes, the anxiety that a mother undergoes when her little babies are around, trying to protect them. But that anxiety coming out of material affection is a transcendental ecstasy. That's the point here. They were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy. What is that transcendental ecstasy? It is known as the distress of material affection, for this was aroused within their minds. Purport. All these pastimes of Krishna and the great enjoyment exhibited by the mothers are transcendental. That means the mother's enjoyment, the mother's anxiety, all this, and Krishna, Balram's pastimes, they're all transcendental. Nothing about them is material. So don't get confused by this material affection. Nothing is material. See, nothing about them is material. They are described in the Brahma Samhita as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna's everything about the Lord. His form, his pastimes, his devotees, everything is from Swarupa Shakti. His abode, everything is from Swarupa Shakti. Ananda. So in Swarupa Shakti, you have, the pleasure potency. You have what are the three Shaktis? Sandhini, Samvid and Haladini. These are the three Shaktis of Swarup Shakti. So Swarup Shakti is also called Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti. So Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. So that his pastimes are all from his Swarupa Shakti, transcendental. In the spiritual world, there is anxiety. There is crying. Krishna is crying, yes. When Yaśodā Mai shows a stick, Krishna is crying. The gopis are crying in separation from Krishna. So there is crying. There is anxiety, like Yaśodā Mai and Rohiṇī are experiencing anxiety. And there are other feelings similar to those of the material world. But because the reality of these feelings is in the transcendental world, of which this world is only an imitation, Mother Yaśodā and Rohiṇī enjoyed them transcendentally. So what we see here is a reflection. The reality is in the spiritual world. Just like the tree on the banks of a water body, of a river. You see its reflection in the water. And how does the reflection appear? It appears upside down. But the real tree is standing straight. So therefore, that which is producing so much bliss in the spiritual world, when that is reflected here in this material world, those emotions in the material world are actually causing you so much suffering. It's upside down. It's a reflection. It's upside down. Like that. So, but what here, the experience that we have of pain and suffering, we should not, that's the mistake that the Mayavadis do. Our experience in this world is when there is a form, when there are some qualities, it gives us attachment and aversion. And because of that attachment and aversion, we suffer. We suffer. Even when there is attachment, we suffer. Because there is fear of losing it, or there is anxiety of not getting it. So you're suffering when there is attachment. And when there is aversion, you don't like it. Then you have that fear of having to face it or live with it because you don't like it and still you're forced to stay. So you're suffering because of attachment and aversion. So therefore, 1 minute, Mataji, I'll take your question. So attachment and aversion is coming because of forms in this world. So Mayavadis, they see that in this world, which is filled with forms, and form means it's giving attachment and aversion, and because of that I'm suffering, then you nullify all forms, right? Anything which has a form, which has a quality, has to give me pain. They apply the same thing to the Supreme Lord also. So when they come in contact means when they read or hear about the Supreme Lord's pastimes and the Supreme Lord's forms, they don't want that also. They say, no, that is also going to give pain, because any form is going to give pain. Their condition is just like you give a cat hot milk. What will happen? By drinking that hot milk, its tongue gets burnt, its mouth is burnt. And the next time, now the cat gets this vyapti jnanam. if you remember from Shastra Pramanam, that yatra yatra dhumaha, tatra tatra vahini. That means wherever there is smoke, there is fire. That is vyapti jnanam. So for the cat, yatra yatra dugdam, tatra tatra mouth burning. Wherever there is milk, their mouth burning will happen. So the first time, because of drinking hot milk, the lips, its mouth got burnt. Next time, even if you gave normal milk, room temperature milk, it will run full speed in the opposite direction, because it's thinking milk means mouth will burn. Like that, the Mayavadis, form means, oh, it's going to give me bondage. It's going to give me suffering. I don't want bondage. Even if they see the transcendental form of the Lord, they say, no, form means material. Form will give me bondage. That is the problem with the Mayavadis. Mataji, Sarika Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Yes,
मैं दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी। हिंदी में पूछूं माता जी क्वेश्चन?
हाँ, कोई बात नहीं, पूछो।
हाँ, माता जी आपने बोला जैसे कि गोलोक वृंदावन में सब चीज चिन्मय है, वहाँ के जो पेड़ पौधे या फिर जो भी मटेरियल जो चीज है, मतलब जो जड़ पदार्थ है वो भी रेसिप्रोकेट करते हैं। और यहाँ पे जैसे 84 लाख स्पेसीज है जो मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में है, तो क्या वहां पे भी है 84 लाख स्पेसीज?
हाँ, जरूर होंगे। जरूर होंगे शायद। एग्जैक्टली क्या है ना माता जी, स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में क्या क्या है, कितना है, हमको उतना ही पता चल सकता है जितना शास्त्र में डिटेल्स दिया गया है। उससे ज्यादा हमको पता नहीं चल सकता, क्योंकि हमारी बुद्धि वहां तक पहुंच नहीं सकती। तो अभी ब्रह्म संहिता में जो हमको बताया गया, चिंतामणि प्रकर सद्मसु कल्प वृक्ष, उससे हमको ये समझ में आता है कि गोलोक वृंदावन में बहुत सारी गाय हैं, और वहाँ सब धरती, जो भी हर एक कण कण सब चिन्मय पदार्थ है, और वहाँ के जो वृक्ष है वो सब कल्प वृक्ष है, और वहाँ की जो भी गोपी है सब लक्ष्मी जी हैं, सब हजारों करोड़ों लक्ष्मी जी भगवान की सेवा करी है। ये हमको समझ में आता है। अभी 84 लाख स्पीशीज उधर है कि नहीं, वो तो मैं तो पढ़ी नहीं ब्रह्म संहिता में, तो मुझे मालूम नहीं, लेकिन हम समझ सकते हैं कि जो भी भगवान को जो भी चाहिए होगा।
जी माता जी, जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि कृष्णा के जो बर्ड्स है, तोते हैं, पैरट्स हैं, काउस है, वहाँ पे लोटस फ्लावर है पॉन्ड्स में, और बहुत सारे जो मालती फूल है, जो फूलों से भगवान की सेवा की जाती है, वो सब भी है। तो इसका मतलब बहुत सारे पेड़ पौधे, ये सब जीव जंतु हैं, भंवरे हैं। तो वो सोच के मन में आता है कि वहां पे भी 84 लाख स्पीसीज है। तो
84 लाख है कि नहीं, 84 लाख है कि नहीं वो मुझे मालूम नहीं, लेकिन जो जो भगवान की सेवा में जो भी एंगेज हो सकती है वो सब होंगे वहां पे। अभी सभी 84 लाख स्पीशीज सभी भगवान के सेवा में एंगेज हो सकते हैं कि नहीं पता नहीं, जैसे या पता नहीं। ठीक है माता,
थैंक यू सो मच माता जी। हरे
हरे
कृष्ण।
कृष्ण। चलिए, सो अभी ये परपोर्ट पढ़ लिए लगता है। हाँ, पढ़ लिए। लास्ट लाइन एक बार पढ़ लेती हूँ फिर से। I'll read, oh sorry, English. All these pastimes of Krishna and the great enjoyment exhibited by the mothers are transcendental. Nothing about them is material. They are described in the Brahma Samhita as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. In the spiritual world, there is anxiety, there is crying, and there are other feelings similar to those of the material world. But because the reality of these feelings is in the transcendental world, of which this material world is only an imitation, Mother Yaśodā and Rohiṇī enjoyed them transcendentally. So the point here is, there is no suffering in the spiritual world. Even though you see crying, even though you see anxiety, and the same thing applies to the pure devotees here. When they are engaged in devotional service, apparently it appears like they're in anxiety, but that anxiety for Krishna's service is also ecstasy. That's the point. So let me see if there's any commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this verse. Yes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Krishna and Balaram were very naughty. Aticalau means chanchal the. Naughty. Bahut restless. Because they wanted to play with the horned creatures, shringi, like bulls, creatures with sharp teeth, damstri, like dogs, then fire, knives, and birds, dvija. The mothers could not properly perform their household duties, thus their minds became disturbed, anavastha. This is a sanchari bhava that nourished the vatsalya rasa, motherly love of the elderly gopis. That's so. There are, when you come to the state, when a devotee is in prema, let me show you this. So the details of this you'll find in Madhurya Kadambini. I'll just tell you a little bit. So up to the stage of asakti, one is doing sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti begins with sadhu sangha from here. And the qualification to begin pure devotional service is dridha shraddha. Before that also you can be doing bhajan like Shravanam Kirtanam, but it is not counted as Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti means you should get Dridha Shraddha. Symptom of Dridha Shraddha is full surrender. Full surrender. Okay. So this Shuddha Bhakti, there are 3 types. You have Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. We read about this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So up to Asakti, it is Sadhana Bhakti. That means up to here, you are still practicing devotional service in this body, material body. Of course, gradually it's getting transcendentalized, but it is not completely transcendentalized. When does it become transcendental? Here, in the stage of bhava, it becomes transcendentalized. But still, that body is in a budding stage. And then when you come to prema, it is a full-fledged transcendental body. Absolutely no materialness in that body. Of course, externally, the body may still look like the material body, but that is the, Bhakti Devi is just hiding her glory from the world. So she will show, even though the person is a pure devotee, externally it appears like the person still has a material body. That's just what Bhakti Devi is showing. Actually, that person has no material body. That person has only one body, which is the transcendental body as a manjari or as a gopi. But you and I are not able to see that. We are only seeing this so-called material body we are seeing. Bhakti Devi does that. Why she does that? Why Bhakti Devi shows a material body? Because by practicing bhakti, your body becomes transcendental. If people see this miracle, then they want to use bhakti for cheap purposes. That by doing bhakti, I can get this and I can get that. Bhakti is the goal. Bhakti is not just, it is the means and it is the goal, both. But people who don't have this faith, what will they do? They will use bhakti as a tool to get some material cheap results, either for material result or to get liberation, they will use bhakti. And that is an offense to bhakti. That is an offense. If you want some material result, you have to do karma. You want to get liberation, then you do jnana or ashtanga yoga. But using bhakti as a tool to get some other results, it's like using the queen, not queen, but the empress, right? As a maid servant to clean your toilet. That's an insult. That is an offense. So to stop that, she won't show her glory. She will hide her glory. Otherwise, bhakti can give everything. You don't have to cook even. You don't have to do agriculture. You don't have to work. Simply by bhakti, you can give, you don't have to go to the hospital or take any medicines if you're sick. Bhakti can do everything. But even though she can do everything, she won't show it externally. She won't show it. Although she's doing it, but she won't show it externally like that. Why? So that people don't misuse. So similarly, in the case of devotees also, you will see sometimes the devotees in the stage of bhava and prema, but still externally they just look like they have the same material bodies. But in reality, they don't have material bodies. They have transcendental bodies. So what I'm trying to say here is, because in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned sanchari bhava. So here, what happens here? This is sthāyi bhava. There are 5 sthāyi bhavas. What are they? Dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, madhurya, and they're shanta. Okay? Sthāyi bhavas. These are called sthāyi bhavas. Sthāyi means these are stable. These are there eternally. They are there all the time. Sthāyi bhava means stationary, like fixed, right? These bhavas are the primary bhavas that are there. And then on top of this, rasa is produced in prema. Like you hear vatsalya rasa. Here you have vatsalya bhava. But here bhava means mood. But this mood is not the mood that you get in your mind in the material body. This is the mood. This is the love actually, the bhava, the mood that the Brajbasis have. And you are awarded that because of your sincerely practicing this bhakti and crossing this stage. At this stage, you are awarded that bhava of one of your role model Brajbasi devotee. That bhava you get here. So it is either the bhava of a das, in dasya bhava, vatsalya bhava, sakhya bhava, madhurya bhava, like that. So this is bhava. Then what is rasa? So to this sthāyi bhava, when some other bhavas are added, ingredients are added, then that becomes a rasa. So rasas happen in prema. Rasas happen in prema. So what are the other rasas? Other bhavas. So you have anubhava, vibhava, sanchari bhava, vyabhichari bhava. These are the other ingredients which will be mixed with this sthāyi bhava. And after mixing this, it produces a particular rasa. Rasa means it's just that condensed form. So it's very delicious, tasty for Krishna to taste, that particular rasa. Just like ras, right? You have ras, juice. So like you have, I think all of you are familiar with rasna, right? What do? You get that powder, right? Rasna flavor, that powder you get. What do? What is the main ingredient there? Water. You'll take a lot of water. So you can take that as sthāyi bhava. Water. Without water, can you make the drink? No. Lots of water you need. And in that, now you add sugar, you add rasna powder, and you add some ice, and then you mix nicely, and then you get a very delicious drink. Similarly, that water you can take as sthāyi bhava. To that, you are adding anubhava, vibhava, sanchari bhava. These are the other ingredients like sugar and rasna powder and ice, all that you add. And what comes out? A very delicious drink. That drink is called rasa. Rasa. That rasa is produced in prema. So based on your sthāyi bhava, so if you have sakhya bhava, here sakhya rasa will be produced. And this rasa is tasted by Krishna. And that's the thing. So here, Yaśodā Mai, Rohiṇī Mai, they have this sthāyi bhava of a mother, right? Vatsalya bhava they have. But to make it more relishable, more relishable for Krishna, other ingredients will be added. So these are not permanent. They come and go according to the circumstance. The others, they are mixed. So where did we read that? Wait. There are other feelings similar to those of milk, but because, no. Where did I read? Next verse.
Mataji, in Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary.
Acha, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yes. So thus their minds became disturbed. Yaśodā Mai's minds and Rohiṇī Mai's minds became disturbed. Why? That the child will go and meet with some danger, playing with horned animals, with fire, with knives. So they're in constant anxiety. They may not get hurt like that. So their minds became disturbed. This is a sanchari bhava that nourished the vatsalya rasa. So there is vatsalya bhava. So they have this vatsalya rasa, but this additional, so this anxiety that they have, that is sanchari bhava. Sanchari bhava. So the details of what each bhava means, that's a whole discussion in itself, not here. That will be in Madhurya Kadambini. But what all you have to understand here is, by the addition of these other ingredients, that rasa becomes even more relishable to Krishna. Yes, Mataji, Bhakti Sundari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, till the stage of asakti, we have material body till the time we are doing sadhana bhakti.
Yes.
After that, at the stage of bhava bhakti, we are getting, our material bodies will get spiritualized.
Actually, the body begins to get spiritualized as we perform bhajan. It starts happening. It is completed when you come to bhava stage. Then there's no more materialness. So the way it is explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is, you have fire of digestion in your body, in your stomach, jఠarāgni. So when you eat food, this jఠarāgni is, let's say you ate an apple. So this jఠarāgni digests that apple. Digest means what? It takes the nutrients, assimilates that into the body, and whatever is waste, it just expels it out of the body. Like that, jఠarāgni, you compare it to bhakti now. When you start performing pure devotional service, we are having material body. We are performing pure devotional service with the material body. But as you perform pure devotional service, the materialness in this body is expelled out. The way jఠarāgni expels out waste material from the food that we eat, similarly, whatever materialness is there in this body, it is expelled out. That means all materialness is, because after all, it is the same energy. This body is made of Bahiranga Shakti. What is Bahiranga Shakti? Bahiranga Shakti is the expansion or the rejected portion, you can say, of the Antaranga Shakti. The example is given like the skin of a snake. A snake sheds its skin, right? So after it sheds its skin, it's separated. However, it still belongs to the snake only, but it is separated now. So external energy is like that. So when you do bhakti, this external energy is converted into internal energy. So this materialness in the body is removed and the body is becoming transcendental. That's what is happening. But it is a process. Again, another example is given. When you eat, right? After you eat the first morsel, when you eat the first morsel, your hunger is getting satisfied, you're getting nourishment, and you're tasting, relishing it also. However, with one morsel, you cannot say, now I am fully satisfied. Some satisfaction is happening. Your hunger is mitigated to some extent. But with one morsel, after eating one morsel, you cannot say, because I ate, now I am fully satisfied. You have to eat some 15, 20 morsels, then you will feel, yes, now I am satisfied. Similarly, when you are doing bhakti, pure devotional service, with every time you are chanting Hare Krishna, every time you are hearing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, every time you are bowing down before the deity, when you're doing pure devotional service, that is acting. That means the materialness in the body is being removed and your body is becoming transcendental. However, it is happening in small installments. It won't be visible. When will it be visible? When a sufficient amount of materialness is removed, right? So that is when you come to the stage of bhava. At that stage, completely all materialness is removed. It's not that until asakti stage, it's completely material. The process has already started. Gradually, materialness is being removed slowly, slowly. But when you come to bhava, no more materialness. It is all transcendental body.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, so at the stage of sadhu sangha itself, our bodies will start becoming spiritual. Means some part of materialness is getting removed.
Sadhu sangha means, see, this dridha shraddha is not actually a part of Shuddha Bhakti. Dridha shraddha is the qualification of the performer of Bhakti. So when you have this qualification, then you begin pure devotional service. Where do you do pure devotional service? You will do it in the association of devotees. So you will be in the association of pure devotees. And while you're in the association of pure devotees, what will you do? You will do bhajan. That means you'll be hearing, you'll be chanting. It is this bhajan which is removing the materialness and destroying the anarthas. And basically these stages are based on the eradication of anarthas. How the anarthas are being removed? By bhajan. Where will you do bhajan? In the association of sadhu sangha. Like that.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. What is anubhava, sanchari bhava, and vyabhichari bhava?
That will take not today. I won't explain it today because that is basically I will have to explain it. It's in Madhurya Kadambini. Yeah. I mean, I won't give the details of each one, but basically just like the example is given. Now, we want to produce conjugal. You see this in this world, material world also, by the way. But again, whatever you see in this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So now people see movies, right? So there's a hero and a heroine. Now the rasa that you're supposed to produce there is conjugal rasa, right? That means a romantic scene has to, the audience who's watching that should taste that romantic rasa. So how is that produced? Simply a man and woman, if they're there, will you get that? That is essential. That's basic. Man and woman have to be there and they should have that type of, feeling for each other. But on top of that, there are other things. I don't know nowadays what they do, but in olden, like black and white movies, you will see they'll show the moon, right? Like night sky, and then breezes, and then the girl is dressed in a certain way, and the situation is created in such a way. Sometimes some comedy, or sometimes like some fear. So all these circumstances are created to produce that conjugal rasa. So these other things which are actually helping to produce that particular rasa, these other ingredients, these are known by these different names. Exactly what each one is, I will have to also go and refer, because I cannot just speak like that. I mean, I have some idea, but to actually explain it, maybe one class we can just talk about those rasas. But that is prema bhakti. Now I was thinking we should just focus more on dridha shraddha, but certainly there's no harm in learning. We should learn, but we should travel from where we are. But certainly we should learn everything. I will explain that one day. Madhurya Kadambini, or if you want, you can also read Madhurya Kadambini in the Prema section, the last chapter. You'll find about these various rasas. Let's say in vatsalya rasa. Now conjugal rasa I said, but vatsalya rasa. Now Putana's pastime. You know why this pastime happened? Because this is arranged. Krishna gets a desire. What is that? To taste. He wants to taste vatsalya rasa. Even daily, whatever he's tasting, but he wants extra. What is that extra? that when Mother Yaśodā experiences that Krishna is in such a dangerous situation, he's taken away by this witch, she fainted, right? And then when he comes back, it's as if he came back from the dead. When she sees that, how will she feel? Oh, she'll just hug him and kiss him and all that. Krishna wants to taste that. That type of, that rasa, not normally everyday house, but special, extra. For that to happen, now Putana has to come and, so that whole thing. So these are all the ingredients, additional ingredients like fear and ghastliness or anxiety. These are all the ingredients because of which that rasa, vatsalya rasa is nourished so much, which Krishna can taste and he will enjoy it like that. Okay. Swati Mataji, you were asking something.
Yes, Mataji, can you tell something about this Vyabhichari Bhava? Avyabhichari Bhakti will hear now. Here, Vyabhichari Bhava means what, Mataji?
That is also one of the bhavas, Sanchari Bhava, Vyabhichari Bhava, Anubhava, Vibhava. Those details I'll tell you later. Avyabhichari Bhakti means basically Vyabhichari means a prostitute. What is the characteristic of a prostitute? What is the difference between a prostitute and a chaste lady?
Chastity.
She'll be with one person only. Yeah, chaste lady, she'll be with her husband. Prostitute, she will have so many men. Today with this man, tomorrow with that man, day after tomorrow with another man. That's a prostitute. So prostitute is called Vyabhichari. Vyabhichari means who is not faithful to only one. She's changing, sometimes here, sometimes there. That is called Vyabhichari. Avyabhichari Bhakti means, Avyabhichari Bhakti means that Bhakti which is only, doing only Bhakti. Not that sometimes Bhakti, sometimes Karma, sometimes Jnana and mixing and all that. No. So Avyabhichari Bhakti would be pure devotional service, where you're doing only Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti. Okay?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Correct.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay, so it's time again as usual, but we have to do Bhagavad Gita. We completed this verse and we completed also this section of Krishna's crawling pastimes. Tomorrow we can start the next pastime, Krishna stealing butter. Also tomorrow, Sunday, we will not have class in the morning at 6:30. I have another class in, a physical class at that time, but I can do a class at your 8 or 8:30 in the morning. Between 8 to 8:30, I will start. I will send, a reminder. So India time would be 6, between 5:30 to 6, I'll start in the evening. Bhagavad Gita. So yesterday I did I gave a recap already, just going over the last verse. Anaditvan nirgunatvad paramatmayam avyayaha sharirasthopi kaunteya nakaroti na lipyate. So this Paramatma is Anadi, has no beginning. Nirguna has no material qualities. Avyaya is inexhaustible. Even though Sharirastha, he is situated in the body, na karoti, na lipyate, he neither does anything, nor is he entangled by anything. So this is the position of Paramatma. Then today's verse. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate. That means the way Akasha. Akasha means what? You can say sky, or you can say ether, right? 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. You can say either ether or sky or akasha. So akasha is the subtlest element of the 5. So yatha sarvagatam saukshmyan akasham nopalipyate. So this akasha is all pervading, is everywhere, sarvagatam, but it is so subtle. Akasha is so subtle that it does not mix with anything. It does not mix with anything. Yes? It doesn't, it just stays, right? It is so, because it is so subtle, it doesn't mix with anything. Sarvatra avastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. So similarly, so who are we talking about here? The living entity. The previous verse was about, yes, just give me 1 second. So this is text 33. So we have the body and we have the knower of the body. So we are talking about the living entity. Okay, we're talking about the living entity. So there is kshetra and there's kshetragya or kshetri, not kshetragya, but kshetri. Kshetri means one who is living in the kshetra. There is the body and there is a living entity that's living in the body. This living entity in the body is illuminating the body. The living entity in the body is illuminating the body. Yes? If there is no living entity, the body doesn't move, doesn't grow, isn't it? So it is the living entity who is illuminating the body. Because of the presence of the Jivatma, the body is working. However, the living entity does not mix with the body. The way milk and water mix, and then it just appears like one, right? It appears like milk. In that way, does the living entity mix with the body and just become one? No, it remains as the living entity. It does not mix. That is the point. So, yatha sarvatra gatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate. The sky does not, it is all pervading, it is everywhere, but it is so subtle that it does not mix with anything. Similarly, this living entity that is inside this body, it does not mix with the body. Even though the body is working because of the living entity, the body is illuminated because of the living entity, but the living entity does not mix with the body. So another example is given of the sun. Sun is illuminating all the objects, yet the sun and the objects are not one. They are different. Yes? Only when there is sun, you will be able to see all the objects. When there is no sun, do you see the objects? You don't see. The sun means even our light and fire, everything is, light is coming from sun only. So when there is no sun, then you don't see the objects. Still, even though it is the sun which is illuminating everything, they're different. The sun does not mix with the objects. In the same way, the body and the living entity, even though in the body, remains aloof. It doesn't get mixed with the body. That's what is being said in this verse. Okay? That's all. Another example is said that in our body we have lungs. Inside the lungs, there is empty space. And this space does not mix with the lungs. Like sky. Sky is said. Space remains different from the lungs. And outside the lungs also there is space. And that space is all pervading, it is spreading all over. Yet it remains aloof from all the objects that it is pervading. It is everywhere, but at the same time, it is not mixing with anything. And here we are talking about Paramatma. Paramatma is also present in every being, but has no attachment to anything. So because the previous verse was talking about Paramatma, so here we are talking about both. So Kshetri means who should we take? Kshetri means both are said. Jivatma is said and Paramatma, both are said here. So let's just read now the translation and purport. What I read was from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Purport. The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature. Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with this body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. So one in science can ascertain this. No one in science can ascertain this. So if you're simply seeing from, with your eyes, material eyes, you will not be able to see the soul because it doesn't mix with this body. That's why they're not able to detect the spirit soul. Okay, so we can stop here. Thank you all so much for joining even on the weekend. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
namo namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.